let's go ahead and get to our next caller. It is Daniel calling in from Canada. Daniel, you are live on Truth Wanted. What's up?
Oh, hi, Dan. I just wanted to call back about, the last show I was on about the Martian pictures.
Yes. Okay, so let me give an update. Okay, for those of you who missed it, Daniel called in, and not only did he call in, he preemptively sent pictures of alleged creatures on Mars that we watched together live on Truth Wanted and debated their authenticity. And Jim Barrows was on that day. Jim Barrows was giving you a real hard time, Daniel. And quite frankly, so was everybody else in the chat. So brave of you to come back and talk to us, Daniel. What else did you want to say on that?
Well, first of all, the title of the program said something about is this proof of aliens? And I don't think I ever said that I was proving anything, right? I'm not here to prove anything.
Wait, if you're not, I'm confused. Isn't the whole point to show us that, hey, there might be aliens on Mars and here's the pictures to
You were trying to convince.
That?
You were trying to convince, right?
It's evidence.
Sure.
Proof. I mean, am I getting semantics here? Is it? I don't know.
I don't really know the difference between evidence and proof when we're talking colloquially like this.
Yeah, I would say you had a conclusion. Your conclusion is that there are aliens on Mars, and you wanted to convince us of that conclusion by showing us evidence to that effect, right?
Well, I want you to see what I'm looking at and what's making me. I know,
Okay.
No, I don't mind if people don't believe. Like, I'm fine if people don't believe me. I mean, it's probably better, right? I mean, maybe this is, like I said, I think it's being kept secret for a reason, and maybe it's a good reason.
Yeah.
Maybe
okay.
No one should fucking know about it for all I care.
Okay. Was that all you wanted to call about? Just frustration at our title of the video, or what? Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No. I'm just saying. Yeah. I didn't mean to be brutal. I'm just saying it's part of my evidence. Why I believe it's a whole range of things. And that's just, I don't think a couple screenshots are going to prove, I just wanted to show you what I was looking at. I was really kind of hoping you guys would kind of just meet me halfway and kind of just say, okay, I see maybe the head there, the little guy, and, but that's probably just a piece of rock or something. I don't know. But Jim,
I think that's exactly what I did. Now, granted, Jim Barrows did not. Jim was like, "Nah, this is all BS." I think I gave you some of the benefit of the doubt there. I think I did say, yeah, I could see how that kind of looks like a little man. What was it? One of them was like almost looked like he had a lawnmower or something, or a leaf blower. He had some sort of apparatus. I remember this. So I don't know. I don't know, Daniel. I think I gave you a little bit more credit there.
Okay, yeah, no, thanks. Okay. No, but Jim was just focusing on how Roger took the picture. And to me, all I wanted was just to discuss, this is what I see and why. No, when I say I don't care if people believe me, I'm just saying that, it may be, in a way, it's probably the best for our society. We're not, like you guys were talking earlier, you guys were giving good reasons why we shouldn't be, if I'm right. If I'm correct, and our governments are keeping the secret from us, you guys are giving a good reason why we should know about it, because we still act fucking horrible. We're still a bunch of savage apes, and I just like you say, it's just our nature. I guess just a yin and yang thing, and we need to get to that secular humanism that MD was talking about earlier, and I think when we get to that stage, then I think we can be told the truth.
Yeah, but your truth is that aliens are a thing and the government's hiding it up, right? Yeah.
Have you ever heard Neil Armstrong's statement he made at the 50th anniversary of the Apollo landing?
Yes.
Where he said,
I know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
He made a very strange remark about that these wonders await people who can, if you can remove truth's protective layers. And what's he talking about? Truth's protective layers. And I think he's talking about the alien issue.
I know
I think
about
that's
this.
confirmation bias.
The reason why I know about this is because I know alien internet people, and alien internet people talk about that quote and say that's him talking about alien stuff. But like that is the only time in like Neil Armstrong's entire history, as far as I'm aware, that he has ever alluded to the fact, or even if you account that as an illusion, that the government may have been hiding something, about aliens and stuff. I think if I was Neil Armstrong, I don't know, maybe I would say a little bit more than like a vague comment that could have been interpreted that way, unless he's under duress or something, which I don't know, maybe some people believe he is, but
Well,
you know.
that brings me to the Brookings Institute study that was done for NASA before the Gemini and the Apollo programs.
Yeah, well, we talked about that last time you called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you look at it?
I know about it. We already talked about it. Basically, the study is talking about the effects of society if we were to talk about the existence of aliens, right? Like what would be the social ramifications, right?
Well, there's one. It's really just one paragraph that they talk about, or two paragraphs. It's not a lot. It's a big report. It's more. The report is called "Proposed Studies on the Implications of Peaceful Space Activities for Human Affairs."
Yeah.
And they just talk about implications to mankind of various like industry and society and all that. But there's one chapter, and I'll read it. I'll quote it. It says, "Societies sure of their own place in the universe have disintegrated when confronted by a superior society, and others have survived even though changed." So I think that word disintegrated is a pretty strong word. And if I were in charge of giving the secret to the public, I would think twice.
So I have a question, Daniel.
Yeah.
I just pulled up the show from a couple of weeks ago, and I was just looking at the screenshots and trying to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
I have not heard, the previous discussion you had. Right. What I've heard so far is the reason that you believe that there are aliens on Mars are these screenshots, some vague-ish references that Neil Armstrong made, and a cherry-picked sentence or two, paragraph out of a large document.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you think that is sufficient evidence to warrant the belief that you're proposing?
No, I think it's more. I think it's more than that.
You think that you need more evidence?
No, I think
he has other reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there are more reasons. I think the abduction phenomena. I think the UFO sightings. I think even the.
So I'll approach this from a scientific perspective. The possibility that aliens exist is a thing. Like, people have tried to calculate what that possibility is. There's a separate probability, I should say, of whether or not they've ever made contact with our species. But the question that you have to ask yourself is, what evidence warrants this? What evidence would make me believe this, and what evidence should make me believe it? And I think that if you really think about that, then you'll realize that you probably don't have the evidence that you need, because the evidence would be, for me to believe that there were aliens on Mars, I would have to see an alien on Mars. And I don't know why that is not an acceptable answer to people who have these sort of beliefs, like people who believe in aliens. I talk to them a lot. Sorry?
You see it in the two pictures.
I'm looking at these pictures, man, and they don't look like aliens.
Do you not see like a little head? Do you not?
Okay, even if they did look like aliens, that's not the same as having an alien on Mars. When I say I want to see an alien on Mars, it means that I want to be able to verify that it is an alien life form. It can't just be a thing that looks like an alien in a picture.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
That's fine.
It has to be something, I want to get a sample of it. Like, I briefly considered, before I went to medical school, I briefly considered going into astrobiology. So I looked into these sort of things. The lengths to which they go at NASA, at least at NASA, to sterilize the spacecraft so that if they detect any microbes, they're just talking about microbes. If they detect any microbes on the surface of another planet while they're doing their exploration, so that they can be sure that they didn't bring it with them. That's the level of detail that they go to. They are so critical. If they found a microbe on Mars, their first thought appropriately would be, oh shit, did we bring this with us? How do we prove that we didn't? So how do I falsify this evidence for you? How could I falsify your belief in aliens?
I'm really not sure what you mean. I don't really want to bog down on this conversation about, like, I think it's much more than those couple screenshots. I think there's much more.
But is any of it definitive?
No. I mean, that would be up to NASA to give us the definitive information. I'm not a scientist.
So then,
Canada.
So Daniel, when is?
What I say? I'm just this fucking guy in Canada living alone with a cat. You know,
Daniel, when is the time to believe something?
When you have good evidence for it, sure.
Correct. And so,
yeah.
You know, you're correct. It may be the case that the definitive evidence for the existence of aliens on Mars exists on Earth. NASA has it or some other agency has it, and they're withholding it. That's possible. But that doesn't mean that you should believe that that's true. You should only believe that it's true once you have that evidence in hand.
Yeah, okay. Now, well, I try to believe in as many true things as possible. I don't believe in, like, flat Earth and the fake moon landing, or I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God, and I don't even believe in anything supernatural. I don't even know what that fucking term means, supernatural. I think our natural universe already is super. What the fuck do you need to believe in a supernatural for? This is what I see, and I've just been following this UFO phenomenon for the past 40 years, and this is just my conclusion, my conjecture, what it comes down to. I don't really want to say that I'm proving it here. I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm just like I say, a nobody. Who cares? But I'm just calling to say what I believe and why, and
I mean, I appreciate that. We appreciate that. But I think the challenge that we're having is that we don't think that the evidence that you've provided justifies the belief that you say that you hold. And you're obviously a skeptical person in other respects. You've come to the, I think, appropriate conclusions for all of these other topics that you already outlined. But right. I think you have to think, like, if I were you, what I would do is take a scientific approach and go look back at all the things that you think prove this, support your conclusion, and start questioning them and trying to poke holes in them yourself. Okay. Saying, okay, this could be aliens. Neil Armstrong could have been referencing aliens, but maybe he could also have been just talking about the majesty of the planet. And,
Sure.
Maybe those things are aliens in the screenshots, but maybe they're just rocks. And maybe if you took a photo of 100,000 rocks, some of them would kind of look humanoid and would kind of look like what I expect an alien to look like. And if you find yourself able to poke those holes in it and not able to come up with and not able to convince yourself that there's no other explanation, like that's what you should be doing. That's what your approach should be.
Yeah, I see your point. But have you guys heard about this documentary called the UFO documentary They Don't Want You to See? it's from a skeptical point of view. It's a scientist, and someone called in a few months ago about it, and a lot of UFO community people think it's are upset about it or something. And it's a very fascinating documentary where the scientists, they give a very skeptical view of the whole UFO phenomenon. And but I think one of the points they make is like they do a good job of casting doubt on famous UFO incidents like the Rendlesham Forest incident or the supposed shutdown of a nuclear silo in the 1960s. And they did an excellent job of casting doubt on those stories. But at the same time, they seem to make the point that that you can't trust a lot of these military stories about the military footage and the stories from air traffic controllers because
sure. So even if that's true, what does it tell you? It means you can't trust that as a source of information. That doesn't tell you anything positive.
But it even tells me that you guys can be wrong. Scientists can be wrong too.
Of course.
Some of your skeptics.
We just finished talking about in like the last conversation, we just finished talking about how even if someone is an authority in the field and they have training, they can still be wrong.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Everyone comes to beliefs in their own mind, right? No one is the harbinger. No human is the harbinger or the reference for what is true. Everyone has to come to those conclusions themselves. And I think the best way to do that is with the scientific method. And I think that you should apply the scientific method to everything. And you should ask yourself, what information that you get, what does it really tell you? Because the fact that your point with that last comment seemed to be, we can't trust what governments and agencies tell us. Okay, that doesn't say that there's UFOs. It doesn't say that everything that they tell us is wrong. It says that some things may be untrue and some things may be true, and we don't really have a good way to figure out which is which on face value. That's all it tells you. It adds basically no information.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know, but one thing that frustrates me is that you guys seem to have this reverence for NASA. But you'd have to agree that they will lie if they have to. If there is a truth that they believe that has to be, like, you can go back to the paperclip conspiracy.
I don't know what
lied about the Nazi scientist in the NASA space program.
I have openly talked about previous conspiracies conducted by the U.S. government, MK Ultra in particular, for example, right? That definitely, absolutely do happen, where governments do lie to their people about what's going on. That is not a novel phenomenon, for sure. But NASA isn't the only player in town, right? There's a lot of space agencies out there. We would have to be talking about something that's a little bit more coordinated than just one institution that's covering stuff up. We're talking about multiple institutions that are covering stuff up at this level. The scaling is much different. And the fact is, too, we've found evidence of governments lying because it comes out and then it goes to court and then, it gets reported on, right? Like, we have not had a shred of even a document that has come out that has led anything scandalous to that degree, particularly with NASA, right? But yeah, NASA does have to keep the secrets in defense, for example. They have to keep American military secrets, right? For sure. They're able to report on all kinds of stuff that wouldn't want to be made public. Absolutely. But that's way different from we're in contact with a sentient alien species, for example, right? It's just different scales here.
But another reason, another thing NASA did where they lied was the face on Mars picture. When that picture came out in, I think it was around 1976 or something, NASA issued a statement saying that they had another picture of another flyby of the Cydonia area, and there was no face. And then the controversy went away, but they never released the picture because they never had a picture.
I remember, so I don't know what specific incident you're talking about, but I remember seeing the face on Mars, and then I remember seeing a second picture of the face on Mars from like a slightly different angle, and it was just a bunch of rocks, and it was purely a factor of the angle that the shot was taken. I don't know if that's specifically what you're referring to, but like, again, I think the thing that people forget, and when it comes to government agencies, is that they're also run by people who can be incompetent, right? Like, I think a lot of these things, some of it is certainly nefarious and secret keeping, and we can't let this get out for political or national security or whatever reasons, but also sometimes it's just people fucking up, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
We gotta wrap things up. We gotta wrap up
Yeah.
this call, talk to some other folks. But hopefully
Sure.
you got something out of this call. I don't want to frustrate you. I don't want you to have a bad time while you're calling. But like, you know, we have our own reasons for our skepticism, right? That hopefully we've tried to make clear on specifically why. Again, some people will exhibit different levels of skepticism depending on how you present some of this stuff. But regardless, we're here to listen to your takes, and then we give our takes. That's kind of, you know, how it works.